As Americans, we learn a lot about Black history in America, but have we ever considered the atrocities that Black people have endured in other countries? According to an article written by Sarah Ingram, the phrase farming was coined to describe a very dark phenomenon in the 1960s and 1970s in the United Kingdom, where Nigerian parents would foster out their children to white working class families in order to provide a better education and economic opportunities so that they could eventually take all of those skills that they learned back to their home countries in hopes to live a better life. Today, I want to talk about a man named Adwale Akinwumi Agbaje, who was farmed into an extremely racist town called Tilbury in the south region of Essex, England, where he would eventually lose all self-identity and join a local skinhead gang. So I want to talk a little bit about Adwale's background. Today, he is a very well-renowned and famous actor. He's appeared in a plethora of well-known movies and TV shows in America. For example, he played a significant role in one of my favorite TV shows, Lost. He also played in the very popular 90s and early 2000s movie called Get Rich or Die Trying, and he also played one of the villains in Thor: The Dark World. But Adwale has a very unique and dark past. He was farmed out at 6 weeks old, again to a town called Tilbury, and unfortunately for Adwale, Tilbury was one of the racist parts of England that he could have been placed in. Obviously, he was brutally beaten, bullied, ridiculed, oppressed, racially profiled his entire time there, including his foster family including by his foster family, and he began to hate who he was. He did an interview in 2020 with Larry King where he shares a story about his past, and he talks about when he was about 6 years old. He was walking to school and he was called over by a police officer. In a very polite manner, the police officer just said, "Hey, I want to come over, or I want to talk to you, kid, come over here." So Adwale trots over to see what this guy wants, and the police officer looks him up and down and spits directly in his face. So Adwale, he's 6, he's a kid, he's Black, this guy's a cop, he doesn't know what to do. So, I mean, the only thing he can do is walk away and just go to school. And in the interview, he describes how the hot spit felt on his face and how defeated he was because there was literally nothing he can do. Later, a couple years later, when he was about 8 years old, his birth parents brought him to Nigeria for sort of like a vacation, and Adwale naturally was extremely overwhelmed, but what was unnatural is he began to become disgusted with his culture. He started everything that people around him were telling him, he began to believe himself. So he was immersed in the culture, the food, the smells, everything like that. He hated all of it, and he began to agree with the ideology that was being thrown at him back home. He began to think that he should not be Black. He wants to be white, and being Black is disgusting and subhuman. So he returns back home with this new self-hatred that he has never felt before. He's very confused, and he all around is just not mentally doing well. When he was 9 years old, he was once again brutally beaten by some kids in his neighborhood, and then after the attack, the kids sent a dog on him who viciously attacked him, and once he got back home from the hospital where he got stitched up, his foster father told him, "You either learn how to fight back or you are not allowed to come home." So that's exactly what Adwale did. He learned to defend himself, and he became notorious for fighting. So through puberty, fighting was an outlet for him to get his anger out, get his frustrations out. Once again, he really doesn't like himself at all. Everyone around him is telling him how disgusting he is because he's Black. His foster mother countless times is threatening to send him and the other children that the family fostered back to Wooga Wooga land. She's making fun of their skin color. He's getting beaten. Anything under the sun you can think of, Adwale was going through. So He wanted to be white, and his ability to dish out beatings sparked interest in a local skinhead gang when Adwale was about 15 years old. So this gang went by the name Tilbury Skins, and they looked at Adwale. They said, hey, this guy, he hates black people, he can take a beating, he can dish one out, he's aggressive, we want to use him. But they don't want Adwale to be a part of their brotherhood. Remember, they're skinheads. They think black people are subhuman. They want to use Adwale as a pet. So Adwale, again, he's not mentally well. He seeks brotherhood in these people. So he tags along with the Tilbury Skins and aids them in brutal beatings against his own kind. They're robbing stores, they're causing havoc in Tilbury, and they're doing the whole thing. But they always remind Adwale of what he is. Whenever he feels like he's belonging with these people, they are quick to remind him that, hey, you're just a black person, you're not one of us, you're our pet. Do not think that you're one of us. From an interview that Adwale did with The Guardian, Adwale states, and I quote, "You would have an experience that would bond you like a fight or even a joke, and you were abruptly reminded that you were just a coon," which coon is a very popular racial slur that was used against black people at the time. As stated before, Adwale is a well-renowned actor, so let's discuss how he got there. As Adwale was in this skinhead group, he wasn't going to school, he wasn't returning home for long periods of time. His adopted mother was at a loss, and so she called both of his biological parents to hopefully help her out. So the only thing they could think of was to send him to boarding school. They brought him to Tilbury in the first place so that he could get an education. So they said, yeah, we're going to send him to a boarding school. At first, Adwale rejected this idea entirely. He was a Tilbury Skin and he didn't need school. He wanted to be running the streets with the rest of the gang. But with the help from his girlfriend and a teacher, he soon learned to embrace education. And while he was in school, he was scouted by a modeling agency, which soon led to him landing his first role. And in 2018, he directed his first film, which is an autobiographical film called Farming, where he tells his entire story. So in conclusion, although farming is something that the majority of people don't know about, it is very real and affects many people to this day. Adwale was a victim of this phenomenon, and he had an extremely unique story within it. He was able to overcome those adversities and make a name for himself.